So we just got the third episode of the show gifted. I'm still really enjoying the show, but this was probably the weakest of the 3 episodes thus far. So let's talk about it. So real quick, before I give my thoughts on it, be sure to put your thoughts down below in the comment section, kind of what you thought about this episode, as well as the show in general, now that we've kind of gotten a flavor for where things are headed. Now, with that said, before I start talking about it, just so you know, it will be spoiler-based. I am assuming you've watched the episode or you don't care if I talk about the specifics of what's going to happen. And as I said at the beginning, this was probably the weakest episode for me thus far. And I was talking with my wife about it afterwards, and I think the reason for that is that it doesn't really go anywhere. It doesn't progress the story at all. Things happen, but by the end of the story, we're back kind of where we were at before with only small steps forward. And you can see where there's potential to kind of do more with what they were trying to work on. So if you think through kind of the plot line of the dad at the end of the episode, he's like, I'll do what you say. I'll do what you only I get prosecuted. My family's out of it. I'm going to do all this to help my family. That's where we've circled around. That whole speech and everything only served to have the plot line in this episode. Now that he won't actually do the stuff to help them, we've circled back around to where that conversation was at. So we didn't really move anything forward by that happening. And then likewise, the mom takes the kids to go see the uncle. We got a little bit of an update in that. There's a little bit of progress in, the uncle gives them the information at the end of it saying that they're going to be transferred. But in general, he gave them a new hideout. But in general, we're basically where we were at the end of the previous episode, which was she doesn't necessarily want to be with the resistance, looking for a place for help and all that fun stuff. But it didn't really progress things. So I wasn't bored. I didn't dislike the episode, but it was kind of one of those ones where you're like, okay, so this episode just existed to fill some space, give us a little bit more information about a few things, but it didn't progress the story. It filled a space, in which case you call it a filler episode. I enjoyed it. I didn't hate the episode, especially kind of in the third act when it started moving towards the mob of people and they're on the run and you get tense and you're like angry in those situations as it's happening. So in that sense, they're being directed well enough that it's building the right tension. You're getting angry at the right people. But this episode in general just didn't need to exist. It was about 10 minutes worth of stuff that we needed, and then kind of an episode that just kind of filled this week's time slot to set up next week's episode where we're going for a rescue operation. And so in that sense, it's a little bit of a letdown of an episode in the general sense of things. And as you were watching, I was talking with my wife afterwards, you're thinking there's things they could have done with it that could have been interesting. Like when the dad goes out and he's got the ankle bracelet on and the wife is out with her kids trying to find help somewhere and she's going visiting family members, there's potential in that they could have reconnected. And the way they learn that he's still alive is they see him right there. And then he goes, I'm going to go back. And what they're going to do is they're going to transfer me over here. And in which case there's a bunch of information and some big interactions right there that are really powerful and important. And their actions, their choices progress the story forward as opposed to they're kind of secondary to kind of what happens. And so it seemed like there were some things they could have done that would have been a little bit more interesting. Still, I really enjoy the show. Still one of my favorite new shows of the season. This one was just the weakest of the 3 we've had thus far because it felt like it didn't move things forward. But what did you guys think about it? Tell me down below in the comment section. I'd love to hear your thoughts on it. Did you enjoy this one? Maybe this one was your favorite of the bunch. And, I'm just finding it a weird thing to focus in on. Let me know down below your thoughts on it. I'm pretty excited about next week, especially with the jailbreak. It seems like a nice action-packed episode, moving things forward a good bit. If you're new to my channel, please consider clicking that subscribe button. I do movie reviews, TV reviews, ranking videos. But the key thing is I don't want to just talk about movies and TV. I want to talk about movies and TV with you. So join me in the comment section. Let's have a lively discussion, and thank you so much for watching.